Greetings, class. I wanted to come to you again. I know I'm doing this a lot this week. I'm getting a chance to really dive into this and check out what's going on here with the grading and the discussion boards. I wanted to point something out about the discussion boards. This is an upper level course, and so you may be used to something a little more abbreviated as far as the discussion boards, where it's just a back and forth camaraderie type conversation, and that's great. I want you all to be getting to know one another. But I wanted to pull up the discussion board rubric for you from the syllabus so that you can be aware of what is expected in these discussion boards. Because we only have 5 of them this semester, they are worth more. And so they have more weight than maybe you are used to. And also, because it's an upper level class, we have to step up our conversation to include different types of professional knowledge that we use in empirically based evidence. So it goes a little bit further than your basic discussion. So let's look here at the discussion boards. They're completed independently and receive individual grades. Um, Students complete 5 required discussion boards through the semester. They are to be applied, using the instructions. The topics of the activities are indicated in the course outline, and each discussion will have a value of 10 points. In order to receive the full credit, students must use the rubric provided and respond in a professional manner, referring to the course materials and course text. So this week, it was a little bit different because it was a personal reflection. And so there was some room for being subjective in that and sharing personal information. And that's okay. Um, I think we need to really look at it from a social work perspective if we can as well. So the idea this week was to take information based on personal experience and apply it to what you're learning in the class, as well as applying it to your knowledge of the code of ethics of social work. And I'll talk about that in just a minute. But here for the rubric, if you want to receive appropriate amounts of credit, you need to look here and make sure. Of course, if you responded to others by the deadline, you'll get points in that area, but you have to meet each one of these areas. Okay, so content contribution, that you respond to 2 or more others, but it has to be factually correct and reflective and substantive. That means it needs to be more than just I agree with you or I disagree with you. Your comments need to be at least 5 to 8 sentences, and they need to relate directly to social work. So it's not really enough to say, oh, I agree with you, I think that's a great idea, but you need to talk a little bit more about things that you're learning in this class, or the code of ethics in this case would have been helpful in this week to refer to others, respond to others using the code of ethics. And then you need to reference the literature that you use. So if you do use any readings or anything like that, you need to make sure that you reference those appropriately. And make sure that you're, being free of grammatical errors and everything like that. So I just wanted to make sure that you knew that there is a rubric here and that that's what your grades will be based on as far as the discussion boards. And then I wanted to talk about the code of ethics for a second. So I'm going to flip over here to the code of ethics, and I just want to provide an overview of that. This week's discussion asks that you take a value from, or talk about values, and talk about your values and society's values as it relates to the topic that you've chosen for your project, your paper. And many of you all did a great job doing that. And we got to the point where it's very easy to look at these values and pick one out. Yes, social service, social justice, dignity, worth of a person, importance of human relationships, integrity, competence. Those are easy. In fact, if I were you, I would memorize them just so you know what they are. However, what I really wanted was to see you go a little further with that in your discussion, and actually give a code to that. So, this whole thing, this whole document is called the Code of Ethics, but the Code of Ethics is built on these core values. So you did a great job picking out which core values would be used in each situation. But what I really would have liked is let's go a little bit further with that and look at the codes that are here and try to develop maybe an example that fits that core value. So to come through and go all the way to here are the ethical principles and here are the values. So each value has an ethical principle that goes with it. And then if you keep on scrolling, you will actually get to the codes and the code numbers. And in some courses, your professors are going to want to know these code numbers. And so I just want to make sure that you know that there is a distinction there between, there's the values and then there's the ethical standards. There's the there's the values, the principles, and the ethical standards. And that's something you kind of want to be able to know in your mind that that's how it works. Social workers also have a responsibility to clients. And then I'm going to scroll on down so you can see this. And we have a responsibility. Hold on. We're getting there. There's a lot of responsibility to clients. And we have a responsibility to our colleagues. If you'll look right there, colleagues. And then we also have a responsibility to the practice, our ethical responsibilities actually at the place where we're working and what that looks like. And then we have ethical responsibilities as professionals, okay? And then ethical responsibilities to the profession as well. And to the broader society. So there's 6 areas where you actually have responsibilities and where there will be specific codes and code numbers that you may be asked to reference at some time. So I want to encourage you to go back and you don't have to redo this week's discussion board or anything like that because you all did a great job getting to know one another and discussing your issues that you're talking about for your papers. But I want you to be familiar with this because you are going to need to know this at some point. And particularly if you're going to get licensure or anything like that, I wanted to make sure that everybody is clear about what exactly the Code of Ethics is and how it works. And really, the only way you're going to be able to really see how it works is to find some of those codes as examples for yourself. So I appreciate the efforts that everyone put in this week. And I do look forward to reading the rest of the discussion boards. I have not finished them yet, but thank you for what you're doing in this class and in an effort to become a very competent social worker.